The West didn't see this coming. Just weeks after Captain Ibrahim Traoré shook the global stage by joining BRICS, Guinea's president Mamadi Doumbouya has joined forces with him and dropped a hammer blow of his own: 50 foreign mining licenses revoked, effective immediately. That's billions of dollars of Western interest wiped out with the stroke of a pen. Africa is rising, and these young revolutionary leaders are no longer asking for permission. They're taking back control of their land, their resources, and their future. The era of Western exploitation? It might just be ending before our eyes. A new drumbeat in West Africa: the rise of Doumbouya and Traoré. The year 2025 marked a seismic shift in the rhythm of West Africa's heartbeat. From the red earth of Guinea to the gold-laced rivers of Burkina Faso, two young military leaders rose to power, not to continue the waltz of foreign dependence, but to set a bold new tempo of sovereignty and self-determination. Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya of Guinea and Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso emerged not just as transitional figures in fatigues, but as gatekeepers of a doctrine long overdue: Africa's wealth must serve Africa first. For decades, West Africa has embodied a cruel paradox: immense natural wealth paired with endemic poverty. Guinea, for example, holds over a third of the world's bauxite reserves, critical for global aluminum production. Yet in towns like Bokeh, Fria, and Siguiri, the reality remains dire: no electricity, crumbling infrastructure, and children trekking miles for education. In 2025, Doumbouya wielded a political machete against this contradiction, aligning with Traoré in a radical pivot. Together, they canceled over 50 foreign mining licenses, declaring that extractive deals would no longer favor outsiders at the expense of local communities. Their alliance, forged in the crucible of post-colonial frustration, signaled more than economic reform. It announced a movement. By reclaiming control over their nation's vast resources, Doumbouya and Traoré are rewriting the rules. Their message is clear: the era of exploitation is over. West Africa will no longer be a mine for foreign gain. It will be a forge for African futures. The era of foreign exploitation ends here. For much of modern history, multinational corporations have descended upon Africa like locusts on a harvest. From the boardrooms of Paris, Toronto, London, and Beijing, deals were struck that dictated the destinies of entire provinces, often without local voices, in foreign tongues and on foreign terms. Africa's mineral riches, gold, bauxite, cobalt, flowed outward, while poverty, instability, and neglect lingered behind. In 2025, a different voice echoed from Conakry. President Mamadi Doumbouya did not mince words when he issued his decree. No more deals that do not benefit Guinea. No more mining contracts written without the ink of our people. His statement marked a decisive break from the past. Guinea would no longer serve as a mere warehouse of raw materials for the world. Its resources, he declared, must uplift its own people first. Weeks later, in Burkina Faso's capital, Captain Ibrahim Traoré struck a matching chord. We are not against partnerships, but partnerships must be equal. If you take gold, we must get schools. If you take bauxite, we must get bridges. Their bold stance was not just administrative reform, it was a moral reckoning. It marked a line drawn in red earth, a declaration of value, of sovereignty, of long-denied dignity. Guinea and Burkina Faso, once sidelined as peripheral players, are now commanding the continent's attention. In reclaiming control over their resources, they are reshaping the narrative, transforming Africa from a supplier into a sovereign stakeholder. A ripple felt across the region. The reverberations were immediate. In Johannesburg, Geneva, and Beijing, stock markets trembled. Mining conglomerates scrambled to reassure shareholders. Lawsuits loomed. Analysts warned of investment pullouts. But in the villages of Guinea and Burkina Faso, the people did not panic. They rejoiced. In Kamsar, where bauxite dust settles on every window pane, Fatoumata, a mother of 5, voiced what many were feeling: let them go. If they don't want to give us our fair share, let them take their machines and leave. This sentiment echoed across the Sahel. Youth groups in Mali, Niger, Togo, and Senegal began demanding similar reforms. The moves by Doumbouya and Traoré had struck a nerve. The continent had long thirsted for leaders who would look foreign interests in the eye and say, enough. These two leaders didn't merely cancel contracts, they issued a challenge to their neighbors, to the world, and most importantly, to the people of Africa. Rise, take back what's yours, or remain beggars in a land of abundance. Reforming the mining sector from the inside out. Canceling exploitative contracts is only one side of the reform coin. The other, the harder, longer path, is building systems of transparency, equity, and long-term sustainability. Doumbouya's administration is moving rapidly. A sovereign wealth fund is being established in Guinea to capture a significant portion of mining revenues. These funds will be earmarked for public health, education, rural electrification, and climate-resilient infrastructure. The government is also drafting legislation that requires community development agreements (CDAs) as part of every new mining license. These CDAs will compel mining companies to build schools, clinics, roads, and water systems as part of their social license to operate. In Burkina Faso, Capt. Traoré's focus is on local empowerment. His government is introducing reforms to legalize and support artisanal mining, bringing informal miners, those who've toiled with pickaxes for generations, into the formal economy. These miners will now have access to state support, credit facilities, and safety equipment. Cooperatives are being formed to strengthen bargaining power, and special mineral zones are being delineated exclusively for local operators. Before we talk about foreign investors, let's empower our own miners, the ones with dust on their hands, not suits on their backs. Capt. Traore. This movement toward resource nationalism is not about closing doors to the world, it's about opening doors from within. Winners and losers, a new equation. In the shifting sands of West Africa's political awakening, the immediate losers are clear. Foreign mining conglomerates, many based in France, China, Canada, and elsewhere, have seen their grip loosen, their influence evaporate almost overnight. These corporations, long accustomed to sweetheart deals, meager royalties, and lax oversight, now face eviction. Their complacency, ignoring environmental safeguards, bypassing local employment, and treating communities as afterthoughts, is no longer tolerated. They are being shown the door. But who stands to win? The potential beneficiaries are the people who have lived for generations in the shadow of mining trucks, the farmers whose crops were dusted by extraction, the youth who found no jobs, the women and elders whose voices were never heard. They now stand at the threshold of a new reality, one where their land serves them first. With newfound leverage, Guinea and Burkina Faso are positioned to rewrite the rules. Future contracts can mandate fair royalties, environmental protections, and local employment guarantees. Mining operations can no longer function as isolated enclaves of wealth extraction. They must now become engines of local development. Even more, a new breed of investor may rise. Ethical, transparent, and Africa-focused firms willing to respect sovereignty, abide by national regulations, and invest in value-added processing could find opportunity in this new order. For them, West Africa is not a risk, but a chance to help rewrite history. The power dynamic has shifted. What was once a one-sided extraction model is becoming a negotiated partnership. The continent is no longer begging, it's bargaining, the unfinished business of accountability. Yet, this path is riddled with risks. The cancellation of licenses alone is not a revolution. Without careful oversight, corruption could simply switch faces. New contracts could mirror the injustices of the old ones if transparency falters and public scrutiny weakens. History offers cautionary tales, leaders who began with noble ideals but fell into the trappings of wealth and power. Doumbouya and Traoré must now prove that this time is different. And that's where civil society steps in. In Guinea, activists are demanding the publication of all new contracts in local languages. In Burkina Faso, citizens are forming community watchdog groups to monitor mining operations. Independent audits, citizen budget tracking, and public consultations must become the norm, not the exception. And then there's the elephant in the room: security. Many mining regions lie in or near conflict zones plagued by terrorism, banditry, and insurgency. Resource control without territorial control is a hollow victory. Both leaders must therefore pair their economic reforms with robust security policies, counter-terror strategies, and grassroots reconciliation efforts. A brotherhood of sovereignty. What gives this story its deeper resonance is the rare and powerful bond between the two men at its center. Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya and Captain Ibrahim Traore are more than military leaders turned presidents. They are brothers in arms, united by shared training, Pan-African ideals, and the battle scars of post-colonial misrule. Their partnership has been quietly strategic. Behind closed doors, they've discussed creating a West African mining bloc, a regional coalition designed to harmonize environmental standards, align tax policies, and build shared refining infrastructure. Picture Guinea's bauxite processed in Burkina Faso or Burkina gold refined in Conakry. No longer would the region export raw ore at bargain prices. Instead, it could export finished aluminum, jewelry, or electronics components. This is the new industrial dream Doumbouya and Traoré are sketching. It's a vision not of dependence, but of shared sovereignty, regional integration, and Pan-African pride. Bold, overdue, and entirely African. Toward a continental awakening. From Sékou Touré in Guinea to Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso, Africa has produced visionary leaders who dared to defy the status quo. Many were silenced, betrayed, or left isolated in their pursuit of sovereignty. But in 2025, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya and Captain Ibrahim Traoré may be succeeding where others fell short, because they are not alone. Their voices are echoed by a rising generation of connected African youth, empowered by digital platforms that broadcast their message far beyond the Sahel. Today, there are whispers in Freetown, Bamako, Niamey, and Accra. The question growing louder across the continent is, when will our turn come? If Guinea and Burkina Faso manage not only to cancel exploitative licenses, but also to deliver real, visible change, schools built, roads paved, jobs created, a domino effect may follow. Other African nations may find the courage to reclaim control over oil fields, forests, fisheries, and farmland. This is not just a political shift, it is a generational turning point. The true revolution won't be televised in global newsrooms. It will be localized, crafted school by school, road by road, well by Africans for Africans. A promise in the soil. In a land where colonial ghosts still whisper, two young soldiers have chosen to dance to a different beat. Doumbouya and Traoré are not saints nor saviors, but they may be symbols of something larger. A reawakening of a continent long told it could not stand alone. The cancellation of 50 mining licenses is not the final word. It's the opening verse of a new national anthem, one that declares, "The minerals of Africa shall no longer feed the empires of others while its own children starve." This is the new drumbeat in West Africa. And across the continent, hearts are beginning to march in rhythm. Doumbouya and Traoré are no longer isolated voices. They're the face of a new Africa. Bold, defiant, unapologetically sovereign. As mining giants reel and Western governments panic, one truth is crystal clear. The age of silent resource extraction is over. The continent is waking up, and the world is watching. Will more African leaders follow their lead? Will the West retaliate? Or is this the turning point where Africa finally reclaims its wealth? Either way, history is being made, and it's not in Washington, Paris, or London. It's in Conakry, it's in Ouagadougou, and it's just getting started.